Hi everybody. So finally it's time to do another video with a model that you may have already seen in one of my videos, but it was only a preview, and just realized I never really got around to showing it in detail, so sorry about the long delay since I've been uploading. I've just been very busy, and you know, some of the time over the winter I was sick a lot, so you know, there was some time where I wasn't really feeling up to doing videos, and you might not have wanted to hear my voice then anyway. So this model here is the Ferrari FXX, as you can see on the rear wing. The FXX is basically a Ferrari Enzo that has been, I guess you could say, upgraded quite a bit for performance. It's rather close to being a race car. Don't exactly know very many details about it, unfortunately. I have driven it in one of my games, and it was quite fun, and a fairly somewhat easy car to drive, but it definitely had a lot of power for its class as far as, you know, just performance and whatnot. So, but in real life, mainly I've seen a lot of videos of this car driven by Michael Schumacher, he owns one that's very personalized for him. And if you just look around YouTube for Michael Schumacher FXX, you'll probably find some footage of him driving it at Monza and cool places like that in Italy. And it definitely has a cool sounding engine. I also like the shape of it. It has a really interesting front end. Ferrari have occasionally, I suppose, sold the Ferrari F40, mostly the F50, as a supposedly Formula One car for the road. And it may not truly have been that exactly, but this generation of the car, at least when it began as the Enzo, it's such an exclusive car to own. I mean, not only is it just rather expensive when it came out, but not just anybody could own an Enzo. You had to be a previous Ferrari customer of fairly good standing before they would be willing to sell you an Enzo. Which I suppose, you know, if you make a car that's already really rare, and every single car that you make ends up being sold, then I suppose that puts a car manufacturer in a position to be able to dictate who their customers are. So I believe one Enzo is owned by Nick Mason, the drummer from Pink Floyd, which is the one that he lent to Top Gear to be able to make an episode where they test drove it pretty extensively on their track. But yeah, moving on from the End Zone to the FXX itself. Let's get a look inside it. For one thing, it's got this model is pretty detailed. It has several moving parts. As you can see, the front wheels do turn left and right. And it rotates pretty easily on all four wheels. You have the front opening hood. I don't really know. There's probably some of the engine components in there, probably cooling and that sort of thing. But this model has a lot of detail, not just in the front, as you can see here. But it also has a detailed cockpit. And these doors have a unique up and out kind of movement. Oops. Let's see if you can see it there. There we go. And you can see that the cockpit, the chassis, has been reinforced with this fairly heavy roll cage. But luckily the roll cage is built in such a way that there's no bar coming across down here, where many race cars have reinforcement, but it comes up pretty high, so that makes getting in and out of the car rather tricky. And I think when you're selling a car as supposedly a race car, but still basically, to your rich clientele who may or may not actually be race car drivers, or at least may or not be of the kind of talent that'll keep the car from ending up in the tire barrier. But, they'll probably want a car that they can get in and out of a little more easily. So, but yeah, you can see that they've detailed the seat. The seat is even made by Sparco. You've got a steering wheel, and the steering wheel does move with the front wheels, as you can see. And of course you've got all the pedals. And some of the dashboard is all modeled in there as well. Now, let's see if we can give you a look on the other side, on the passenger side. It'll stay open. But yeah, again, roll cage. You can see the seat belts. The 5-point red harnesses in there. Yeah. Looks like there might be I don't know, maybe a fire extinguisher strapped down to the floor. But anyway. And now why don't we have a quick look under the hood. This beautiful engine bay here. So yeah, as you can see, another rear-engined sports car, and a lot of the suspension components right here where I'm brushing now. It's always interesting to see how the layout of the components on a car like this differs from you know, cars that you are probably used to driving on the road normally, which will have the engine in the front, and even the drive wheels are usually in the front. And that's just a compromise that favors safety and stability over performance. So when you get in trouble, there's less likely that the car is going to do something unexpected that you can't recover from when you have all the weight in the front, you know, the big engine lump and drive wheels in the front as well. It takes a little bit of skill to handle a car that has the drive wheels and the engine in the rear, because as long as you are in a normal situation, there's probably not a lot of difference when you're pushing a car to its limits. And let's say you go over the limit just a bit, what you do to recover from it. For some drivers they've found that it might be the opposite of what they were expecting would work, so they end up turning the car backwards. So, but yeah, just look at this beautiful engine bay and all this detail in here. Looks like more chassis reinforcement right here. And then probably some pipes that come from the radiators. And intakes, that sort of thing, to give this car its aspiration so that it can deliver the kind of power that you're asking of it. Big huge firewall back here. I'm sure there's maybe some degree of controlling the noise, but if this is meant for mostly track use, then maybe noise isn't an issue. There we go. You have these beautiful two-tone wheels, the red and the black, and the single wheel nut in the middle. Again, that's optimized for track use, I'm sure. Not necessarily the best for street use, daily driving, so to speak. I love these little white accent stripes with the red. A tiny little Ferrari FXX logo here on the nose. And here we have the windshield wiper positioned straight upward. I suppose, I'm not sure if that makes any difference as far as aerodynamics. Probably doesn't add a whole lot of drag, but it just may be that if this car is routinely going up and over 200 miles an hour, then this thing might be flapping all over the place. So it should be a bit of a distraction. I don't know, would it maybe fall off after a while? I'm not sure. So. Alright. Well, there you have it. is my 118 Ferrari FXX model. I believe this is released by Hot Wheels Elite. Is that correct? Yep. Turn this over the other way. There we go. There's the bottom. You can see this sculpting here for the diffuser, the rear diffuser. It's kind of just built into the bottom. The rest of it's all flat bottomed, as you can see. Which keeps the air flowing nicely underneath the car. So, alright. Hope you enjoyed that little look, and we'll see you next time. Bye bye.